Welcome to the World of Horror podcast. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
And this is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. Fear is universal, but we are not afraid of subtitles. A disclaimer: the thoughts and opinions expressed are ours only. We have no credentials of any kind. We just like horror and enjoy discussing international horror movies. Also, these discussions will include spoilers. You have been warned. This week, we watched the 2010 Mexican horror film Somos and the 2013 American remake, We Are What We Are. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Great, Mom. Hope you are as well. Great, that is.
We just had a downpour here.
Really?
Well, about an hour ago, and it came down pretty hot and heavy. That's not right.
The rain came down hot and heavy.
No, I don't like that. It came down
heavy.
Well,
and it was hot, probably.
Tom Waits has a lyric. It rained like hammers. It rained like nails. Something like. But that's what it was like. It was. They were like, go and sit in your bathtub. Like, it could be dangerous.
Really? Like. Mom, the way, if I can just describe how not stormy it looks outside. Like when I was driving home, I saw a big storm cloud on the horizon. And I know where we're probably going to get something. But like, if you looked outside my window right now, you'd be like, oh, a beautiful summer's day.
Yeah.
So maybe we're just going to get an hour later.
The light is streaming in on your beautiful visage. So that's nice.
Yeah. I feel like usually when we record, it's not sunlight out.
Well, yeah, because we're doing this an hour before we usually do it, but also we sprang forward.
True. So it's like 2 hours.
Crazy. Time.
Okay. Isn't it fucked up that other places don't recognize daylight savings? Like, and I'm not even saying that they should. It's just like, okay, so if other places don't recognize it, we can't do it.
What do you mean we can't do it?
Like, I have somebody who watches my Twitch stream who lives in Canada. Mm-hmm. And she told me, she's like, oh yeah, your stream now starts like an hour earlier for me. And I was like, oh, and she was like, yeah, my province doesn't recognize daylight savings. It's like, so I just live in a different time than you.
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's already like that with time zones, but it's extra now. You know, it's like legit. Her day is affected now because of our daylight savings time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That shouldn't be allowed.
And I think in Arizona, they don't recognize it. They don't do anything with it.
See, like everyone has to do it or no one can.
This is the law.
It's the law.
Time law.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, how are you?
I'm fine.
It's the rain.
Good. Although I spent.
Did you get a haircut?
Yeah. Maybe
that's really good.
Maybe last week. Thank you. I spent about an hour trying to get Vimeo to communicate with my Roku television because I bought a bunch of workouts from Thad, my coach, and he put them on Vimeo. And you can put the Vimeo channel on Roku, and it'll tell you to activate it at this website. But then when you do it, it says, uh-oh, something is not working. Try it again. So I tried it again for like an hour. I removed the channel and I put the channel back on and I logged in and I logged out. And so now I'll just have to look at the videos on my computer instead of my big television like I wanted to. So
that ain't right.
I mean, my life is really hard.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm surprised you were able to make it to the podcast today. I'm just kidding.
I thought about canceling, but then I thought, no, I'm gonna be brave.
I'll be brave. Sometimes I really do feel like it's like, okay, listen, anyone at any point in any status has a problem, you know, so we all experience problems, but sometimes when I say mine out loud, I'm like, Oh, like, am I a dickhead?
Well,
Like,
I don't think you're a
I'm a
dickhead.
spoiled dickhead.
Yeah, I think all of us to some degree or another are spoiled. I mean, Quinn and I joke about it all the time. It's like something like that. Like my food delivery was a half hour late. Like,
Oh, the
oh my
humanity.
God, how can I ever go on? Um, so I think it's good to recognize that actually we're very fortunate, and we get inconvenienced sometimes, but in general, my life is really easy and wonderful. And Vimeo can go fuck itself. But actually, I don't even know if it's Vimeo. I mean, it could be Roku. I'm not sure who to
I
get
think
mad
it's
at.
Roku.
Yeah, I think so too, actually.
Let's blame it on Roku.
Yeah, they don't tell me the truth always either. Like if I do a search.
What do you mean?
If I do, like if I'm looking for a movie or something and I go to the Roku search, sometimes it'll tell me something, but then I find out later it's different. Like it was on other services or, whatever.
Shudder did that to me once.
Mm-hmm.
One time, like I looked up, it was when we were watching Rec, the Spanish one. I looked it up and Shudder, like it came up like Rec, Shudder. Yeah, we got that. Sign up now. And so I signed up for a fucking free trial and then it was like, we don't have Rec. It's
yeah.
Like, you can't do that.
Well, I bet, you know what I bet it was? I bet like Shudder itself has Rec, but Shudder North Carolina doesn't have Rec. So it's like a regional. I bet that's what, I don't know, but I think that's probably what it is. Because
that makes sense.
Things like that have happened to me too. But I did see a very cool movie that's not horror. It's called Another Round. Have you heard about it? It's Danish with Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh.
We love him.
Well, we love him.
And it's really interesting. It's these 4 friends who are teachers. They all teach at the same school. And apparently Denmark is a place where people drink like fishes. Like there's a whole culture, and teenagers drink a lot. And but one of the guys suggests that they all maintain a level of 0.05 of blood alcohol content. That's what they want to shoot for all the time.
Like even in their daily life?
Yes. And they actually have to stop drinking. The rules to all this, they have to stop drinking at 8 p.m. So it's just really during the working day to make them more creative and more like sociable. And
please.
So I know, I mean, it's kind of a goofy premise, but
okay.
So part of it is very funny and very fun, and but it doesn't stay that way.
I bet. Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I recommend it, and yeah, I won't say anything else, but the ending is really satisfying. I'll say that. And Maz is awesome. He always is, but he has such an intriguing face. I mean, he just every little thing he does with his face is.
Yeah, he knows how to work it too.
He does. Yeah.
I feel like that's a face that could own you, but he owns that face. Like a haircut.
Yeah.
Like some people can't, some people let their face rule them, but Mads is like, listen, I got this he said, listen, I don't have a face that everyone has. And that means it's unique and great. But I feel like some people can be like, oh, I don't look like anybody else. Goodbye.
Yeah. All the other guys are great too. The 3 other like main actors are great too. Yeah.
Other guys, whatever.
I don't know their names. They're all just pale shadows compared to Maz.
I just remembered I finished the first book in a while that I have read, or I have not read in a while. I just finished a book on audiobook, but it still counts.
Yeah.
Under the Dome.
Did you like it?
Yes. I cried at the end at work. And then this is how much of like a goober I am. They had this like afterword with Stephen King where he was just talking about how his process of writing the book. And that book's long. It was 34 hours. So I spent a long time with that audiobook. And he just said, he's like, listen, if you enjoyed this book as much as I enjoyed writing it, then we both came out great. And I just like shed a tear. Because I was like, you wrote such a long book and I did enjoy it. It was so like stupid. Afterwards, I was like, oh my God, looking in the mirror, like, who are you?
Well, I think we all might be a little emotionally on edge anyway. I don't know about you, but it doesn't take a lot for me to, tip over. Either. What was I was so angry the other day. Oh, I don't think she listens to the podcast. So, but all right. So I went to work, and one of the reasons I went was because my friend Cole died, and he has an office right next to mine, and I just wanted to sort of inure myself to him not being there. And so, but I mean, it worked okay, but some people were cleaning out his office, and they gave they had books and stuff, and then like personal things like mugs and things that they said anybody could take. So I took a mug, and when I went to London, I got him a little pin that said "Mind the Gap." So I took that back, and I used to have a Italian phrase of the day calendar, and one day it said "Siamo molto amici," which means we are good friends. And I put it on his door, so I took that back, and then I got real sad, and because then people came by and they're like, "How are you?" And I know they mean well, but I'm like, I'm fucking bad. Like,
yeah,
not good.
How am I supposed to be?
What am I supposed to say? Great, I'm doing. Yeah. So I know they mean well, but I was just like, go away. And then I was gonna walk with my friend Dina. So I went over to her office, and she's like, "Oh, I'm on the phone. Do you want to come up?" And I'm like, "No." And then she's like, "Well, I'm going to be a while." And I got filled with rage, like, like that, like in a minute. And I'm like, "Whoa, emotions a little bit."
Sometimes when you catch yourself getting like, so I did that today, Ethan, like, just one of my coworkers, I wanted her to set out something, and she didn't do it in time. It didn't even matter, but I was talking to someone else, and I was like, well, so-and-so is actually supposed to be doing that, but she's not here right now. And then I was like, why am I so bitchy? Like, where did that come from? She's fine. Like, why? And I had to like, like, you're in the wrong for being this mad.
Yeah. Well, feelings come and feelings go.
Amen.
Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay. So, Woho's For Once, we have a remake that is not a shot-for-shot remake. It's actually quite tonally different from the original. And so we're going to go through both films. We'll talk about the similarities and the differences, but they really are two different films. So that was kind of fun for once. Mm-hmm. So it was not like Ring or, I don't know,
Martyrs,
Dark Water. We haven't watched it yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
What did we just do? Oh, One Missed Call. Oh, my memory was like trying to like purge itself of that movie. Okay. So this movie was written and directed by Jorge Michel Grau. Its runtime is 90 minutes. It has an interesting cast. Let's see. Carmen Beato.
I loved everyone.
Yeah, I thought everyone was great too. I have some sad news.
No.
Yeah, but Daniel Jimenez Cacho played Tito the coroner, and that's a role that he revived from Cronos in 1993. Same character.
Wow.
Paulina Gaitan Francisco Barrero was in Here Comes the Devil. And here's the sad part. Alan Chavez has died. He got into a fight with some friends, and the fight got violent, and he was killed in a gunfight. And the film is dedicated to him. He plays the younger brother. And kind of interesting because the brother is like so like fiery. So anyway. All right. So in the opening scene, also I watched this movie twice because I really, really liked it a lot. And
I loved it.
Yeah. So I just right off the bat. And the opening scene, the father dies on the sidewalk at a local shopping mall. And I wrote down 2 men cart away mess. Oh, yeah, 2 men, like, so he collapses.
Yeah.
These 2 men come and carry him away, and then somebody with like a push mop thingy like cleans up the mess. And I just liked that. I don't know, it was kind of cool.
It made me laugh. Sort
of shows you the disposability, of life, I guess. Anyway, so he's a watchmaker who repairs watches at the local street market, and that's the family's sole means of support. So Dad doesn't show up. Alfredo and Julian head to the market. Julian gets into a fight with a customer who claims that his watch is 3 weeks overdue, and we learn why later. The mother who runs the market appears to tell the boys to get out. The rent for their booth at the market is 3 weeks in arrears.
Can we talk about that lady who owns the market's haircut? Because it was really good. She looked amazing. It was like spiky, like highlighted. Yeah, it was, and she had like some bright red lipstick on. I was like, ooh, I am here for this.
Yeah, she was a bad bitch.
She was a bad bitch. I really, and off the bat, like, all of the actors are killing it. Like, I just feel like everyone does a great job. I really love Alfredo. I feel like his face, like, that kid's got a great face. It was amazing to look at him. Like, he just had a way of like having such a great stormy look on his face. And also he's very handsome. And also it's just nice to have a very short man in a movie. He's extremely short. And I was like, my man.
Yeah. That's funny. So when the boys arrive at home, their sister Sabina enters in a state of shock and announces that their father has died. Their mother, Patricia, locks herself in her room, and the children wonder who's going to provide for the family now, specifically their meals. And there's a line that I wrote down. It's something like, we need to get something for tomorrow.
I noticed that too. Something.
Yeah, something. So we cut to the morgue and Tito, the coroner.
Holy shit, this scene should be in the MoMA. It's so good. It's so good.
So we have, how would you describe Tito? Like, he's in a tank top. He's got a cross around his neck, which has got to be like 8 inches tall.
Very thick too.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think he's smoking a cigarette, but he might as well be. I mean, he's just,
yeah,
he's real.
And he's
loose.
got he's like a curly, like afro, like very cool hair, headband, pretty sure, and kind of sweaty. I love him.
Oh, this is a very sweaty scene. So
this is a very sweaty movie.
Yes. So Octavio and Owen are 2 police detectives, and he's invited them in because when he was working on the father, he found that there was a woman's finger that was in his stomach.
And man, this man ate the finger with the nail polish still on it.
I know. That's a little hard to believe.
Yeah, there were some. Listen, I really enjoyed this movie, but there were just some qualms I had with it where, I mean, honestly, the and they don't really come in yet. Actually, really, I have one main qualm, but I'll get into it later.
Okay. So the detectives are asked to solve this cold case, and initially they resist, but then they decide that they can get really famous if they do solve this case. But one of them has this great line, we don't solve cold cases. And then he like leaves and he goes, truth be told, we don't solve active cases either.
The scene was hilarious. Like I legit laughed out loud. Okay, I have a question about the police force. What's this like? Like, it just seemed odd to me that like there's not like a police chief assigning cases. It's like if you find the coolest one, you become cool cop. I was like, so wait, like, is this just how this works?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but you're right. It doesn't, we don't usually see that.
Yeah. And I mean, I like it because it I think that they're a pretty good subplot, and I think they are really funny, and I like their motivations for making dumb decisions because it's for, you know, they take bigger risks because, you know, they want the glory. But I still was just kind of confused of like like is like are cases like auction things that you can get, and if you just happen to get the juiciest one, like I guess you just become the best cop. Like I just totally did not understand.
Yeah, because you know, these two other cops, especially one other cop,
bully them.
Yeah, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get that stop looking at that folder. You look stupid, and you're never
so
going to solve this case."
I like those characters only existed to be like, these guys are on the bottom. It's just like,
Yes.
who goes up to somebody and he's like, and they're like, don't even read that, you big idiot. I was like, this was random. But like, that's the thing about this movie is anytime somebody acts irrationally, I'm kind of here for it. Like, I'm kind of like, what? Okay. Because it's still entertaining.
So Alfredo and Julian attempt to kidnap a homeless child. I have a question about this scene. So there are all these kids who are hanging out under this local bridge. I'm guessing they're homeless, you know.
I think they are
kids, but they're chased off by other children. But did they kill that kid?
I don't know. The kid was laying unconscious, and the other kids, like, yeah, are all crowding around him. These two are like the worst at abducting a child. Like Alfredo is very ashamed, and it's like, listen, I'm not saying you should abduct a child, but it is kind of like, well, yeah, like you're two tall dudes. Like you couldn't even grab one child and run away. Like, damn, the dad really was keeping them together.
Yeah.
That's a theme of the movie though I really like, is because it comes up again of like people taking care of each other. Like, and even though it's like silly to me that they couldn't grab this kid, I really like that though, because like they're not trained assassins, you know, they're this weird family. Like, yeah, they don't know what to do. And these kids are kids. And so they're just probably like, oh yeah, we'll just grab a homeless kid. It'll be easy. And then all these other kids are like, hey, no, you can't do that. And like, I really enjoyed that. Like that, because I feel like, you know, we are what we are, you know, that's the name of the movie. And like, that's kind of the theme of the family, of kind of being like, well, we're going to do this weird thing that we're doing because we're a family. But it's like, it has all these other moments of like people being together, and like outcasts too, like outcasts of like main society, sticking together and like having a community. Like I really enjoyed that of this movie.
Well, speaking of that, their next plan is to kidnap a sex worker. She also resists, but Julian, oh my gosh, punches her and stuffs her in the backseat of their car. Not only that, but it's like on a public street. That's like, I was like, it was kind of a weird moment where you're like, you want him to get away with it, but it's so horrifying. yeah, they're just like stopped on a street, and fortunately nobody comes by. But yeah, he punches her.
That scene, yeah, they stop like in the middle of the road to like
Yeah.
stuff her in the trunk. It was so like, that's a great scene because yeah, I was thinking the same thing, like because at one point another car's on the other side of the road, but
Yes.
there's like a huge median between them or something, and you're just like, like, are they gonna call the cops? And this scene too is also like with the other sex workers, because like people notice that this woman's getting like abducted, and it's like a pretty sad moment because they're trying to like run after her but they can't. And I feel like, again, it's interesting to me that so many of the other characters are like outcasts of society, kind of like people that like they really have to stick together because nobody's looking out for them. It's like they can't, like, that is how unsafe it is, like, and it's not, and that is why, like, regulation and stuff is like needed. So you can't just like, abduct a person and, murder them.
Right.
So I feel like the guy who made this movie was like trying to say something.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of notes and stuff, but well, so they're tying the sex worker to the kitchen table at home, but Patricia comes in and she's really upset because the husband used to, I don't know if he used to go to sex workers like for sex or to eat them, but I guess to eat them, because of the finger in the beginning. But she doesn't want a sex worker in her house,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not calling her a sex worker. She's calling her a much worse name. Well, she just kills her with a shovel. Mom just takes care of it.
It's so dreadful.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of like a little bit like goes on a little bit.
Yeah.
Of her just like beating her. You don't see it either. You just hear it.
No, yeah, it's off camera, but it's yeah. So then she's like, take her back to the corner and tell them this is what happens if you mess with our family.
Insane.
The
mom is unhinged.
She's off her rocker. Well, and I wanted to get to that when talking about cannibalism a little bit later. But so they do. They take her wrapped in a sheet. Her whole body is bloodied, and her face, all you see really is her face, and it's completely bloodied. And then the mom, says, this is what happens. Don't mess with our family. And so she like outs herself like as the killer. And so all the other sex workers are understandably quite upset. And yes, they know her face. Alfredo goes looking again. This time he okay, I kind of liked this. I think he was in the bus, and he was just looking at like people's bodies. Like there'd be like arms holding onto the strap, and you would just see like the bend of the arm. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. But he sees a really cute guy and he follows him into a gay bar. Now, did they have a relationship?
Okay. This part of the movie I both liked and disliked because earlier, like his younger brother like calls him the F slur and stuff. And so I'm guessing these are like things that he's been internally struggling with. And in the scene where because it's really long, the scene where he's tailing, because it's like a group of guys and he's just following them and he looks pissed. Like I don't know, it just like set up my like, just like, oh no, am I about to be really uncomfortable? And but it's just the thing I just kind of I wish was a little bit different was like, I really like, I do think that they did this part of the movie well, but it's just like, why does every scene involving like young gay men have to just be at a gay bar?
I know.
Like, you meet at a gay bar or a club and that's it. You cannot meet anywhere else. It's forbidden. And it's not even that I'm like, oh, that doesn't happen. Obviously people meet at bars or clubs, but it's like, just once I'd like to see another meet cute. And also I found it just a little bit unrealistic that like because the guys eventually notice that he's following them and they're kind of like, oh my gosh, this is funny. It's like, what? This guy looks like he wants to kill you dead, and you're just like, he's following us from place to place. Like, that's scary.
It's like stalking us like prey.
Yeah, he's never smiled once.
But in the bar, the boy, what's his name, Daniel or something? I don't know if he has a name.
I don't remember.
But
I don't know if he has a name. He's
like, I'll be right back because these wolves would gobble you up. There are a couple lines like that in the movie. So let's see. Alfredo brings the boy home, but
well, it's a really cool scene. He first goes to the bathroom. The boy catches him and like kisses him. He freaks out, runs away, and then oh, I really loved this scene. He's on the bus and there's like a woman who's singing and she's like, oh, because of all these donations, I got from singing on this bus, I'm trying to give back because I'm alive now. And she gives like little paper, like prayers to people and he doesn't want it, but she like gives it to him and it just says, you are alive. And that makes him like get off the bus and run back and then just fully make out with the guy in the bar. And I really liked that scene.
Yeah. That is a really nice scene. And now at the same time, Patricia is on her own hunt. Is that true? Like
yes.
And so she's in a okay. I mean, I just wrote down at one point so much cruelty. There's just so much cruelty of these characters to each other. But she is in a taxi cab, and then the next thing you know, the guy in the taxi cab is fucking her really hard from behind, and then she brings him home. So she's taking she's taking care of business.
Yeah.
But Alfredo thinks he should since he's the oldest son. So Alfredo brings the boy home. Julian says, I don't want to eat a homosexual guy. Except he doesn't say that. And they're arguing that. And then the taxi cab guy comes out. Kind of like, funny. What's going on? And then the mom kills him with a shovel again. She's like,
she's shovel happy.
Yeah. She is.
It's so funny because at this point I was like, yeah, where did the guy go? Like, because and also again, I was like, this guy that Alfredo picked up is the dumbest motherfucker on the planet because like Alfredo brings him home and then it's his sister and his brother says, I don't want to eat an F slur. And he's like, you'll eat whatever I'll bring you. And it's at this point, it's like, do you really think they're still talking about like in a sex way? And also it's like, if I came into somebody's home and then somebody called me a slur, I'd be like, bye. Like, I gotta go now.
I looked that up because the word they're using, I mean, it's translated as the F slur, but the word they're using is maricon, which I think is the F slur, but I'm not sure it has the same punch. It means different things in different Central and South American countries. So I'm not sure. Mexican WOHOs get in touch. I would like to know if it is indeed just as bad as if an American used the F slur, but I'm not sure.
Alfredo and his brother like started to get into a fight, and Alfredo just like tosses the guy to the side, and then we don't see him for like 5 minutes. And I was like, I hope like he better be gone. And I was happy that he was, because I was like, it would be so unrealistic if he was still in this house, because he's just not on camera for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So Sabina and Patricia are going to prepare the man for eating. Now, this is parallel from when the sex worker was on the table. And one thing I really liked that I forgot to mention is we see her face. It's like we're looking from her feet to her face. And we don't see the bodies of the boys. We just see their arms passing knives to each other. And so she's freaking the fuck out because, you know, she's understanding what's going to happen. And it's so
a great scene.
Scary. It's just like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
So anyway, and so we have our taxi man here, and they're I don't know, preparing these herbs, and there's like candles.
And this is the part of the movie that is like the main thing I just wish was a little bit different, is like, because they mention, you know, they have to do this today. It's a further ritual, but we don't know what the ritual is, what's going to happen to them if they don't, because they say like, oh, we're going to die and there's going to be blood everywhere. But I just really like, I'm okay with it not being fully explained or anything, because I just kept thinking this movie is so like, this is just a snapshot of this family and they're fucked up and like they are in their own like little world. And I liked that. Like there was no straight man to be like, I mean like straight man character to be like, what's up with all this craziness? It was just like, they all, you know, it's just them and their weirdness. But I still would have liked to know, just to get some sense of the stakes, like what is going to happen and like what is the ritual? Is it just eating people? So it's like, again, I don't need to know the whole lore, but I just wanted to have like something.
Yeah, because it seems like they all buy into it. It's not just the mom, you know, the kids also think that this is extremely important. But you're right, it's not spelled out. And I think that's okay, because it's not really spelled out in the remake either. I mean, we're just told it's like a religious tradition. But
I just wish I knew that it's like, does it have to be on this day?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
are you gonna die if you don't do it?
The mom seems to think so, right? So let's get back into it.
I'm getting into it.
So the detectives hear that there's something going down, and they refuse backup because they want to be the ones to get all the glory.
These chuckle fucks.
So Detective Octavio stops Alfredo and Julian in an alley, but he's shot by a beat cop who mistakes Octavio for one of the cannibals. Detective Owen discovers Sabina and Patricia preparing their meal in their ritualistic fashion, and the women kill him.
Can I say there is a great attention to detail when it comes to when they're preparing this dead body, because they just keep, it's just a bunch of scenes of the daughter like pushing down something to chop something, and it's just like this crunch, and it's so gross but so good. Like a lot of this movie, you don't see the violence, but you hear it.
I agree. Alfredo and Julian arrive home. Patricia insists on completing the ritual. This is where she kind of freaks out, and you know, she's saying that it's got to be today. But Alfredo drags her away to escape over the rooftops.
Because the cops are here.
Yeah, the police break in, and Julian shoots several of them, and the family rushes upstairs. And the mom says, you know, one of us has to live to carry on this ritual.
This lady.
And so she flees to the rooftop, and you just see her sort of running away across the rooftops. But we see her running away, and the sex workers also see her running away. This I didn't get the first time, but then I did after the second time. Alfredo bites Sabina's neck. Julian thinks that Alfredo's trying to eat her, so he shoots Alfredo. The police kill Julian and take Sabina away. She's a mess at this point. She's just screaming from all the gunshot and all the death all around her. So they take her away in an ambulance. They believe that she is a victim, and she's like a survivor.
Since she's gotten bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what did you think of that move?
I I got it when at first I thought he was also trying to eat her. Um, but then when they took her away, I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
she's got a bite mark. Okay. And but again, I feel like this would have had just a little bit more impact if I just knew all of the implications of her. Like her living is her living. That's cool. But like again, we still don't even know we didn't even see anyone get eaten really.
No,
Like,
we didn't.
is this the only cannibal movie without any cannibal scenes?
Yeah, I think so. So Sabina at the end, as morning dawns, we see that Patricia's body is on this playground beaten to death. And
because she was getting some air at the playground, and then all of the sex workers come in from the right side of the camera and just like look at her, and it's like,
yeah.
hey lady, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Listen, I don't
you're done.
advocate for violence, but you can't blame them, is
Not
the
at
thing.
all.
Especially the way in which she threw the body in front of all of them and was like, I'll do the same to you if you come near my sons. It's kind of like, and they get you alone, they're gonna kill you.
Yeah, for sure. So the next morning, Sabina escapes from her hotel room and
Her hospital room, right?
Oh, not hotel. Yes, hospital. I'm sorry. And the last shot is of Sabina, who has found her next victim, supposedly, because she just has this look of absolute like hunger and like the look of a predator in her eyes. And that's the last shot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
What'd you
good.
think?
I liked it.
I liked it a lot too.
I liked it a lot. Let's see. Let's see if I noticed there were 3 times doors were closed, to shut out some people at the morgue. I got a special case for you. Alfredo's injuries. Sabina urges Alfredo that she's just trying to talk him into taking the lead. And then also with Sabina and Mom with the herbs, they close the door so that not everyone can see what's going on.
Was there supposed to be some weird kind of relationship between Sabina and Alfredo? Okay,
Julian,
because I was like, Julian? No, I thought it was because there was a moment where she's in the bath and then she hugs Alfredo while she's naked.
I thought her deal was with Julian. There's one scene where they are standing at a window and he's just sort of creeping his finger over toward hers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
then the mom's like, go on, get.
I think so. Yeah. And also the watch, Alfredo, we think of him as like this good boy. Like, everyone in this family is pretty fucked up. But we think of Alfredo as a good boy. But guess what? He had that watch, the one that was supposedly, supposed to go back to this customer 3 weeks ago. And it's gold and it's beautiful. And he's just like hidden it, between his mattresses and stuff. So
I love that.
There's a shot, I don't know if it's right then, but there's a shot and his head does not appear in the scene. So it's just from his neck down. And I was like, what's that all about? And I thought he's in over his head. I thought that might be like what we're supposed to think. And then when Sabina's in the water, and even on the poster, we just have the bath water up to her nose. She's barely keeping her head above water. But yeah, there's so much cruelty in his family and in the whole society at large. It's so violent. And even the mother, like, she keeps saying how one child is better than the other children.
Yeah.
And
It's
Like,
a rough
it's
experience for every character in this movie.
oh, and one more thing. When they the sex workers asked the cops to,
Mhm.
check on this family
Mhm.
because of their friend who has died at their hands, they bring a young girl.
Oh, I forgot. I think I pushed this out of my mind.
Yeah, and they say, "Look at this tasty little morsel." And I guess this is, an offering. You can have this little girl if you help us take care of our friend.
Yeah, it's
So
messed
it's
up.
just cruel. Like the whole thing, it's just like a study in cruelty, I think.
Yeah. Well, I read that the reason why or somebody online, I don't even remember who or what, it just said that the idea was they interpreted it as just struggling in poverty, like not having enough, and like
Yeah.
that's why the ritual isn't really named, because it's just about like needing to consume, because there's not enough, which I thought was interesting.
Well, before we go on to your movie, Mac, which is just a remake of this movie, but it is quite different, I wanted to ask you, what cannibal movies have you seen?
Well, should we rate this movie?
Oh, yeah. I'll rate it 4 shovels.
For sure. I will rate it 3 shovels and 1 shovel top.
Okay.
3.5 shovels.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, and it's just strange. There's like humor in this. Like when I first started watching it, I'm like, what the heck is this movie? Because it's kind of tragic, but also funny the way
Yeah.
the father's body is disposed of. And
I don't think there's like really, I had the thought of just like, there's kind of like no movie I can compare this to. Like, this is a very unique film, but it's good. Like, I feel like sometimes there's films that I was like, I mean, yeah, it was different, but like, did you enjoy it? It's like, I enjoyed every second of this movie. I thought like all of it was done really well. And the only qualms I had were just like, I wanted to know more about it. I just wanted more from it, which to me is like a good sign.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention. After we get the announcement that the father has died and Patricia has escaped to her room, when she comes back out, the camera is on the dad's chair. And it just pulls away from the chair just to show us that, the chair's empty.
Yeah.
It's going to remain empty. And that's the kind of thing that I love about film, because it communicates so much in probably 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. I mean, you get the whole, what would that mean for you if you lost a family member and their chair was there still? And, it's just really good filmmaking. I think I really enjoyed this film.
Yeah, and it's like the movie is 90 minutes, but I feel like every single shot is intentional and is like trying to give you info, and that's why it 90 minutes, but it's like every single second, like I don't know, there's something good there.
Yeah.
They waste no time.
Very efficient. So I took these from IndieWire, Film School Rejects, and GameSpot. And I know that you're not like really into older movies, but I think you might have seen some of these older movies. So I'm just going to read the whole list.
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974.
I have.
Cannibal Holocaust, 1980.
I have.
Cannibal Ferox, 1981.
No.
Never heard of it. Eating Raoul, 1982.
No.
This might be a comedy. I don't know. I remember this like seeing posters for it, and I think I'm going to say I think it's a comedy. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986.
I don't think so.
Oh. Blood Diner, 1987.
No, but that's gross.
Okay, this one I must have seen, oh gosh, 5 or 6 times at least. Parents. Have you ever seen
I
it?
watched that with you, I think. I like that movie.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's really good.
Delicatessen, 1991. I believe this one is Franche.
No, I haven't watched, but I feel like I want to watch. I feel like this is on my list.
Cannibal the Musical, 1993.
Yes, I have seen this. And it's extra sad because the guys who made South Park made that. It's like what they made in like college, I think. And I only watched it because I just used to be really obsessed with South Park.
Ravenous, 1999.
Yes, that's a great movie. I would recommend.
That is
It's
really
a great
good.
movie.
Trouble Every Day, 2001.
No.
Hannibal, 2001.
Yeah.
Oh
Wait,
my God.
Hannibal.
This is not.
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen Hannibal.
This is the one where Hannibal Lecter feeds Ray Liotta his own brain.
I have seen that scene. I saw it on YouTube.
Holy shit. I think I was in the theater with your dad, maybe. And there's also a scene where somebody is, what's that word? Disemboweled.
Oh, what's that word? The worst word.
You know that word. It's nasty. Okay, The Hills Have Eyes, 2006.
Yes.
Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, 2007.
Yes.
But what did you want to say about that?
That, just so you know, the 1982 version with Angela Lansbury is way better.
The Green Inferno, 2013.
Yes. That movie sucks. Like,
that's Eli Roth, right?
Yeah, and I really wish Eli Roth would calm down. Like Eli Roth, I feel like has a cool brain, but he needs somebody to reel it in, because there's just like a scene where and it's played so seriously, which ruins it. Is these people are trapped in this cage waiting, probably to get eaten by a bunch of cannibals, and this one girl really has to poop and she just shits in the corner, and it's just like this really heavy scene where everyone's, she's so humiliated that she has to poo, and it just was like, I don't want to see this. Like can you get back to the gore? Like, I don't want to see a girl cry because she's shitting. Like, it's just like felt like that was the step too far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan or anything. I just know that he's really big and he means a lot to a lot of people, but he's not not to me. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I don't really care. But how about Bone Tomahawk, 2015?
Yes, I like that. I like that movie, but I feel like maybe, like, not maybe, I'm like, is this offensive? Like, am I bad for liking it?
Well, yeah, I think we decided that it was racist. But
yeah, it is racist.
But those, I don't know what you call them, those creatures who have like done all this body modification with their throats and everything like that. Are pretty scary. And that one scene where that guy is like split,
bifurcated.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
That is rough. I had to like leave the second time I watched it, I just had to leave the room like when it was on, which is stupid because I've already seen it once. So it's like in my head. But I was like, yeah, I have to leave. And
Papa Russell in that movie.
Yes, Papa Russell is in that. We'll get to Baby Russell in a second.
Sweet Baby Russell.
Last one on my list is Raw, 2016. Yes. Oh God, I love that movie.
That's a great movie. I want to watch it again.
I do
haven't
too.
seen it in a while. I
got really fascinated with it because I think it's really feminist, and I just really love it so much. I have another thing that we can do, which is a true false quiz on cannibalism. Are you interested in that?
I'm very interested.
Okay. I thought I put it into the script, but I didn't, so I have to go find it. But hopefully it is here.
I have to say, cannibalism itself, like, obviously it bothers me, but I actually find the idea of people getting eaten as food by big monsters is like way scarier. Like,
Oh
um,
yeah, like
yeah, like
backcountry.
yeah, yes. Or like anime does this a lot, actually. There's one anime in particular I'm thinking of called Blood Sea, and there's all of these scenes where just these like huge, it's like they're so long and drawn out, and it's the whole point, but these beasts are just like eating people like they're like, I don't know, like fair food, like, or like they're like, you know how sometimes people put bugles on like their fingertips? Like at one point, one of these monsters does that with a person, but like, spears them with his long claws. And it's like, it's like, it was very good because it's just stuff that I feel like in a way our culture might still view some like that level of violence as like too much, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see it be so casual, like, oh yeah, this human's getting eaten just like it's like a Pop Tart. And it's like so it like very much disturbs me, but in a way that I enjoy watching.
Well, I've got 4 questions, and they're
Okay.
true false questions about cannibalism.
All
Okay,
right.
true or false? Cannibalism is addictive.
False.
Actually, it's true.
Stop. What?
Karen Hyland, a therapist at Summit Malibu Treatment Center, that's where all the rich people go to like detox.
She knows she's the number one
Yeah,
on
she
cannibalism.
knows. States that cannibalism activates the pleasure center of the brain and large amounts of dopamine are released. She compared it to what happens when someone ingests cocaine. Once that happens, the person will want to keep pursuing the act, creating a cycle.
Why?
I don't
What?
know.
Like, holy shit. Like, I need to know, and I mean, I don't need to know. So nobody should do this study. It would be unethical. But like, I wonder if there were any like people who didn't know, like the double blind test. Like, do you have to know that you're eating a person, or if I just ate a finger but didn't know, would I still get that same dopamine? I'm so interested in this.
I don't know
That's
if I
so
I don't really know if I believe this, but
Yeah, and they need to. I mean, again, they shouldn't do this study, but I'd be interested to see it done again.
okay, question number 2, true or false? Christopher Columbus invented the term cannibalism.
False.
It's true. In 1492, when Columbus came to the Americas, he encountered the West Indies Carib tribe, who were ritually cannibalistic. The explorers mispronounced their name and called them cannibs instead of Caribs. According to Merriam-Webster, the first known use of the word cannibal was in 1553.
So, it's so wild that so many things are just like from people fucking up. Like, and that's just what we call it now.
That's what we call it now, yeah.
One dude fucked up, and
True or false, there are laws against cannibalism.
true.
No. Surprisingly, no. In the United States and most European countries, there are no outright laws against the consumption of human flesh. Most criminals who commit acts of
Ow.
cannibalism are charged with murder, desecration of corpses, or necrophilia.
Ew. Okay, but this is. I'm so that story of like the guy who is like, I want to eat either. Yeah, I want to, like, why was he charged then?
I did look
For
up his,
murder?
I did look up his case. I don't think we're talking about the same guy. One guy was charged with
Oh,
murder, but the penis guy, is that the guy you're talking about? He wanted to
no.
like eat
The
somebody's
penis guy.
He wanted to eat somebody's penis, or they were both going to eat their penises or something.
And he found someone?
Yeah, and someone answered the
There's
ad.
someone for everyone.
And but I don't think the guy died. I think so. I'm not sure what happened in that case. I'll look it up and get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, last one, true or false. The character of Jamie Gum, aka Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs, was entirely a creation of writer Thomas Harris's imagination.
False.
Right. Do you know who he was a combination of?
No, not off the top of my head.
Ted Bundy and Ed Gein.
Ah, I knew. Yeah, Ed Gein. Ed Gein.
Oh my God.
Not much more I can say there.
All right. So tell us about We Are What We Are from 2013.
Okay, so funny thing about We Are What We Are, my mom and I saw this movie, but I have no recollection of it. But I swear to God, we watched this movie.
I think you're right, because some of it did seem kind of familiar, but I don't know if
only the parts with Wyatt Russell.
I guess. Yeah.
Because the only thing I remembered was his scene. Okay, so now literally for something completely different, We Are What We Are is the American remake starring just the blondest people you've ever seen. So the Parkers are a somewhat reclusive religious family who are about to undergo a period of ritual fasting. After purchasing supplies at a local goods store, Mrs. Parker notices a poster regarding a missing teen woman. And the picture's kind of like it's wet because it's been raining, and she kind of like looks at it and kind of like peels it a little bit more so it's a little bit more ripped. And then she begins bleeding from the mouth, and before she can reach her car, she stumbles into a waterlogged ditch and drowns. There's no period of like not knowing or like daughter going, like this is truly a completely different setting, like in every single way, like the whole culture, the whole like I don't like the houses, the lives of the characters completely different. And so yeah, in this one it is the mom who dies, and the dad now must take care of the family, and he has 2 daughters, 1 son. Interesting. So, consumed by grief, her husband Frank does not show up to identify the body, but instead sends his 2 daughters because he is really going for Dad of the Year award.
I know. I was like, you motherfucker.
One of the daughters is 14 and one of them is 18, I'm guessing. Even the one who's 14, I thought she was way older. But either way, can you just imagine being like, hey, can you go identify your dead mom? Like, I know you're a child and a minor, but I can't do it. I can't do it right now. Oh, God. I hated this guy. He's kind of insufferable. So his 2 daughters are Rose and Iris. Very pretty. Rose has such a beautiful face, like very interesting face. Like she should do like, I don't know, fashion. So Dr. Barrow, who delivered Frank's young son, Rory, explains that an autopsy is mandated by the state. During the autopsy, he does not find a finger. Instead, he finds evidence that she had Parkinson's disease.
So one of the questions I didn't have a citation for, but I found out that eating human flesh is not bad for you unless you eat the brain.
Oh.
The brain can be dangerous, and both the father in the original and the mother in this one are very shaky. Like they've lost control of their neurological system. That can happen if you eat brains.
Wow. I didn't know that it was specifically the brain, because I had heard of the prion disease, but I didn't know that it was like only from eating the brain.
I think so. I think the rest of the body is you're pretty safe.
A-okay. Yeah, and this family feels just a lot more like, I felt definitely that in the original it was a weird dynamic, obviously, and like this family is like very much like torn apart. But this one, it seems from the get that like the daughters do not want to be there, like whereas in the original it's like the kids are like, yeah, this is our life, we're gonna like Yeah, we got to go find somebody to kill. There's like kind of that's never really brought into question in the original movie. So I thought that was interesting that in this one we had to have somebody be like, whoa, this isn't okay. You can't kill people. Also, I found interesting that of course, the American movie wipes any traces of anyone who is not straight or cisgender. Because we cannot have that. No, we cannot do that. Okay, so Rose and Iris debate whether they are prepared to take over their mother's religious duties, but Iris is adamant that they must perform this year's ritual. So this is different too. We know that happens every year, and it's called like the Ritual of the Lambs. Rory wanders into his father's shed and finds a young woman held hostage. Frank had abducted her when he saw her car disabled by the side of the road a few months earlier. Months? Wait, it was months?
I don't know. I guess so.
I didn't realize that. I thought he just saw her. I didn't get that. Well, apparently she's been there for months, which is even more horrible. So Frank forces his daughters to kill and butcher her, and they reluctantly obey.
Well, yeah, let's talk about this scene.
Yeah, let's get into it. Dad also too much of a coward to even kill the girl. He's like, you're gonna make the daughters do it, and they like struggle.
Yeah, they really struggle. And is this another shovel death?
I think it is.
Yeah,
it is another shovel death.
But this time, the shovel killer is really upset. I mean, she's really having a hard time. And she says later, I didn't know it was going to be like that. I
really liked that.
I did too.
It is interesting to see like it being treated as such like a, because I mean, it is like if you are a young, like you feel as though this is a burden that you must bear of killing this woman, and you're just like, this seems so fucked up. Like, I don't know, you really do feel for the daughters, like, which I thought it was cool that they were able to make me feel bad for them. I mean, it's like, obviously they didn't choose living in this family, but it's like, I mean, y'all have been eating humans for that. You've known that this is happening. And this is an issue because guess who hears their next door neighbor hears a woman crying from the shed, which is spooky. Okay, so Doc Barrow, whose daughter had previously gone missing, becomes suspicious when he finds a bone fragment in a creek. He has a really good dog who finds that, actually. He goes to Sheriff Meeks, the sheriff of their small town. Sheriff Meeks is like, I don't give a shit. Sheriff Meeks is such a dick, too. He's like, listen, it's been like forever. Can you just forget about your dead daughter already? And this guy's just like, no. But he's able to convince Deputy Anders. And who's Deputy Anders played by?
Wyatt Russell.
Our favorite. Well,
he's up there.
I just love the Russell family. Yeah, he's one of my faves. He looks just like my boyfriend. Like, it's
no word of a lie.
Uncanny.
Yeah.
Like really uncanny. And even when he's got the beard shaved, Alan just shaved his beard. No beard in this. Looks great. So Deputy Anders is like, sweet young man. He's like, okay, I'll help you. And before he had like a little scene where he talks to, this was kind of creepy. After their mom's funeral, he goes back to their house and he knocks on the door. It's like, listen, she just buried her mom. Mm-hmm. And he goes up he asks Rose, he's like talking to her, and they're kind of like, you can get that they went to school together and stuff. And he's like, I don't want this to come off weird, but like, would you want to go see a movie sometime? And it's like, on the day of her mom's funeral? Like, and she literally was like, ask me again another time and I'll give you an answer, which I thought was great. Yeah. But she was just like, but he's awkward and sweet. And he also is like, have you seen this girl? It is the girl in her shed. So Anders finds more evidence in the creek only to be confronted by Iris, upon whom he has a crush. Anders confesses his feelings to her. Confused and overwhelmed with guilt, Iris breaks into tears, and they begin to kiss and have sex in this creek area.
Things escalate very quickly. I mean,
very quickly.
I don't mean to be a prude, but wow.
I mean, they don't like
0
talk.
to 50. I mean, it was on. So I'm like, is there more to this? Was this edited down? Because it was just like
very fast. Fast. I mean, it's legit. Like he likes her. Her thing is she's like, you don't know who I am. Like, also, this was an insane line. She goes like, Anders, I'm not who you think I am. And he goes, all I think you are is a pretty girl. Oh, what a girl always wants to hear. The only thing I think you are is pretty. Don't get ahead of yourself. I don't think you're nice. And he says,
I don't think you have any depth.
Who I like a lot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Well, then
in
that case, that's another layer of nothing on top of a layer of nothing.
Yeah. And I like it that you're pretty. Well, and apparently that's enough.
That's enough.
then they don't say anything. Nothing. She just starts taking off her clothes, and then he takes off his clothes, and then they fuck. It's like,
but that doesn't last very long.
No, it does not. What happens? Frank finds them and hits Anders in the head with
a shovel. Shovel.
Another shovel. And this is this scene I think is pretty good. Like,
yeah,
it shocked me the first time. Is the only thing I remembered from the movie was him getting killed, because there's a lot more movie that happens, and I kind of figured he was going to be in the whole movie, so that was pretty surprising. And it's like really dreadful. Like, I mean, poor Wyatt Russell's like bleeding and like, ugh.
All the blood's getting on her because she's underneath him, and so there's a lot of blood, and she's just covered,
traumatized.
Yeah.
What a horrible moment too. I mean, just like the worst kind of like your dad walking in on you and then kills your boyfriend on top of you. Like,
yeah,
that sucks. Has anyone ever had a worse day?
Ultimate one-up story.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, my dad killed him on top of me. So Frank's not happy.
No.
He says, "Go to your bedroom." And then he goes out to the field and yells out scriptures while tearing apart crops near the riverbed with a machete. As you do. This guy is like, the dad in The Witch? Like, yes. This is him, except this is like 2013.
Same guy, though.
Same guy. He finds a mandible because there's been a big flood. There's been a big flood in their area. And I did like this idea because it's like some dumb fucks burying a body, not knowing that they're in like a watershed or something like that. And like, because then he starts to realize like the bones start flowing down the creek and he's like, shit. And he's like trying to grab them all, but it's futile and he knows it. And I actually really like that scene because I just feel like that must have happened to so many people who are stupid and have killed someone and buried them. And they're like, fuck, I forgot about the rain. Yeah. Damn it. So he tries to, he leaves. So the girls form a plan to leave the city while their dad's asleep because they're like, fuck this. I hate it here. So Frank is reciting religious prayers as you do. So Rose takes his car keys. Frank cooks and poisons the dinner with several cups of powdered arsenic. I got a question. Where do you buy arsenic? Can you just buy that?
No, I don't know. I don't think you can buy it. I mean, you can buy stuff like rat poison easily. I don't know, Amazon.com.
They just have this bottle and it just says arsenic. And it's like, it's just so hilarious because this dumb fuck, like, it's right in the middle of the pantry. He takes it, does a huge dabs so much onto this meat stew, puts it back. Rose, no, is it? Yeah, Rose comes by and then like opens up the pantry, and then she's like, what's that right here? Oh, the bottle that says arsenic, and there's some that's missing. It's like, you're so bad at killing your family. So so yeah, Rose finds, and she's like, oh, well, he's trying to murder suicide us. So, but she doesn't say anything. She's so nervous at dinner. And this was, I thought was interesting. This whole movie, she's had her hair tied up, but now her hair is like loose, and she's got like really curly hair. It's really pretty. So Rory, the baby brother, is about to eat the dinner. Rose slaps his hand before he can take a bite. And then at the same time, Barrow arrives to speak to Frank, and he looks because Frank is like, leave us. So the kids leave, and as Iris is walking away, she's got this little hair ornament, and Dr. Barrow is like, that it belonged to his daughter. And he already kind of went here knowing that this was going down. Oh, also, he was trying to find Anders so that he could kind of go there together. And he texts Anders like, it's the Parkers. I'm on my way. Meet me there. But of course, the dad has killed Anders, and he's like looking at the phone like, So he's been expecting this the whole time. So demanding to know what happened to the daughter, Barrow fights with Frank in more of like a men angrily talking to each other way, not a fist fight. So because Barrow also has like a gun out, but he doesn't know that the dad has a gun stashed in a drawer right behind him. So Frank tries to shoot Barrow, but then Iris comes out of nowhere and is like, Daddy, no! And he shoots her instead. Frank is he knocks out Barrow. Rose and Rory just flee to the house of the friendly vegetarian neighbor Marge. And then this is a bummer. Frank breaks into Marge's house and just kills her. It's a pretty gruesome scene. He kills her dog too.
He kills her dog first. As he's walking up to her trailer. And then he kills her through the door. Like he like pulls her halfway through the door, and it's awful. I mean, it's really hard. Because you think
the kids are like screaming and crying.
Rory, how old is this fucking Rory? He's little.
Yeah, he's small. Okay. I will say Rose is screaming and crying, but I did notice that like this kid actor, I don't know if it was just the end of the day and he was tired, but like he's just like laying limp in her arms, like no expression on his face. But he's a really little kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, Marge is dead. Rips. Frank is like, Rory, come here. And Rory immediately is like, okay. And so I was confused here because it's like, listen, I know Rose is like freaked out, but you just know that your dad was trying to poison. Oh, no, wait. I understand why. Never mind. So they return home. Rose and Rory return home. So Frank once again tries to get them to eat. And something we should say, he's beginning to come down with the same, because the wife died of prion disease, and which we see through a montage of Doc Barrow looking through an encyclopedia that you get pill rolling. I don't know what is it like? It's a symptom that she had, and shakes like the Parkinson's, they shake like they have Parkinson's. And the dad is starting to get that too. So when he tells Rose, when Frank tells Rose that she looks like her deceased mother, Rose and Iris just attack him. They go full on with their mouths.
They go ham.
They go ham. They bite into him, ripping his flesh.
I loved this.
Iris sticks a knife in his hand. Yeah, and the both of them are just like chewing on him. Rory's just chilling.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rose notices Barrow, barely conscious, has just witnessed the whole thing. And she places his daughter's hair ornament on his chest. And then the children leave town. And and Rose has the diary her father had previously gave her, which throughout the movie has detailed the ancestors' memories of cannibalism and stuff. It's like, yeah. It was an hour and 45 minutes.
Fine.
And, it's okay.
It's okay. It's no Somos I, but it's fine. I mean,
It's
I don't have any real problem. I mean, it's dumb, but I don't really have any
yeah.
problem with it. Acting's good, and
I think it's boring.
I thought it took a long time in the
It
beginning.
adds 15 minutes to the runtime, and it
Yeah,
didn't need to.
true. Okay, true. What are you gonna rate it?
I'm gonna rate it in bottles of arsenic, and I'm gonna give it 2 bottles and one that I haphazardly scooped half out of and put in the meat stew to give to my children. It's 2.5.
Mm, I think I'll give it the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. I mean, it's not,
Okay.
there's nothing really that special about it except for the attack I'm going to remember that attack of the daughters, like full on, like a vampire, just like, eating their dad. And you don't see that a lot. And it was shocking. And I liked it. But I mean, all this stuff with the doctor is like really convenient, and even the bones is convenient. I mean, I agree with you with that one scene where he's like, "Fuck, there are all these bones," But I don't know, it's not scary. And
No.
again, there's no discussion of the ritual.
And there's way less personality. Like in the first one, I can tell you every character's personality. Like even though we only see them in this like few amount of days, I mean, it's like there's a dynamic that's there. Whereas like Rose and Iris might as well just be like older one and younger one, like
yeah.
There's not really much between like, and they don't exist, it feels like, outside of like, I found it interesting, that like, okay, Iris is from this weird reclusive family, but somehow she dated this guy. Like, okay, like let's get into that. Or like, won't the cops take this guy seriously? And but it's just kind of like you're just kind of supposed to roll with the punches and not ask questions, but they don't answer anything.
Yeah. But I'm glad we saw the original. I mean,
oh, me too. That's a great movie.
Yeah, I started watching another movie by him. It's called 719 or 719 AM, and it's about an earthquake that hits Mexico City, I guess, at 7:19 a.m. And it's got Damian Bashir, who was in the Mexican version of The Bridge. They had that like Danish, Swedish, The Bridge, where the body is on half, is like cut in half. It's half on the Swedish side and half on the Danish side. And so the people from both countries have to work together. Then they did England, France one, and they did a Mexico, America one. But so he was in the Mexican one. I like him a lot, but I wasn't into it. So I don't know if I don't know if that probably says more about me than the movie, because it seemed pretty cool and it seemed like he got pretty good accolades for it, but I just wasn't into it that day. But yeah, and I do like it that the director of this movie took the original stuff and then, put his own slant on it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He did it. He made a movie.
That was something that happened.
I've never made a movie, so
yeah.
Got to meet Wyatt Russell. So, I mean, who am I? Who am I to critique?
He's just so cute.
He really is.
He has a little baby now. Did you know that? In real life. Clickety clack. Look up Wyatt.
Oh,
our boy Wyatt.
I just looked up Wyatt Russell baby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I thought he was dating Anna Kendrick real quick, but it was just a scene from a movie where they're holding a baby. I don't see this baby.
Well, go to Goldie Hawn's Instagram and you will see the baby.
Goldie Hawn's Instagram.
Like I do every morning.
This family only dates other blonde people.
I know, it's true.
It's very odd. I just feel like no offense to anyone who's blonde listening to this, but you can't date someone the same shade of blonde as you. You will look like siblings. I'm really sorry to be the one to tell you.
Join us next time when we look at the South Korean A Tale of Two Sisters from 2003 and the 2009 American film The Uninvited. And for our 5th episode this season, we're going to do a deep dive for 5 on director Kim Jee Woon. That's in 2 weeks, but join Quinn and me next week when we look at dysfunctional families and functional families. Before we go, Wohos, we want to say thank you so much for supporting us. It means the world of horror to us truly. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. If you like this podcast, please tell all your friends and leave a good review in the places where people leave reviews. If you want to get in touch with us, you can at worldofhorror96@gmail.com. We love you. Don't go into the basement.
Yay!